Hello everyone, my name is Victoria, your community tax lady from Tax Care. I'm here to tell you about a few of our services. Today I would like to tell you about our tax services. Many of you may have received letters from the IRS or even just need your taxes prepared. Well, in our office we are experts in federal tax law. Many of you do not like to deal with the IRS, but you know what? I love it. And we are very successful in dealing with the IRS. So if you have any tax questions concerning your individual taxes or business, please give us a call at 239-693-8428 because we can solve all of your tax problems. Thank you.
The City of Fort Myers has supported new and early-stage businesses by providing a location and technical assistance to new business owners. Tenants also have access to free business consulting, professional receptionist office, free Wi-Fi, 2 conference rooms, a large training room, copier and fax. Many new businesses now operating successfully have had their start at the Southwest Florida Enterprise Center. If you have a business idea, call 239-321-7085 and come join us.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
We have been sorry to keep you waiting, but the Pillars of Success is back. I am your host, Martin Bird, on a brief hiatus, but we're back with an excellent guest. I know you've seen the promotion, and yes, that's her. I'm sitting here with the lovely Shannon Graham of That's Her, That's Him Foundation. Great to have you, Ms. Graham.
Thank you, thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice having you in conversation with you. Finally got you on the couch. So, North Fort Myers High School product.
That's right. That's
Red
right.
Night. We're going to leave all the jokes aside.
Red.
Because it's my show, I'm going to be green.
Oh, dear goodness. What battles? What fun battles we have?
Doge. Yeah, of course, back seeing Ernest Graham is back.
Definitely.
Head football coach over there at North Fort Myers High School.
Doing an awesome job over there. Awesome.
Looking forward to having Ernest on soon. Got Red Knight sitting here. So North Fort Myers High graduate, Fort Myers products.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel now? North Fort Myers High School, how do you think being here and now working here with your foundation, how is that growing up here actually? You get a lot of people that come here, work here, and they get involved in the community. But growing up here, how has that pushed you more to be involved in the community through your foundation, through your work?
Right. Well, growing up here, I mean, it's so hard not to get caught up into the environment.
Definitely.
You know, we have an environment that sometimes says that you can't do this, you can't do that, or if you try to go to college, you're not going to succeed, or you're going to return back home, or you try to build a business, you're not going to succeed, nobody's going to support you. So what I'm doing and what I have been doing is breaking down those barriers. You know, and I tell my kids, I tell anybody that asks they say, well, how do you do this? How do you think you can? I said, I didn't think I couldn't.
Yes.
You know, I came up here, I saw things, and I knew I did not want to be a product of that environment. In fact, I knew I wanted to grow, change things a little bit. Who said I couldn't go to college? Who said I couldn't have my own business? Who said I couldn't have a basketball foundation? I mean, and it's all about showing and empowering these kids because their mindset, they're only going to do what they're looking at. They're not going to do what they're being led to do, but I'm here to show them that there's different options. There's a lot more examples out there for you. I just wanted to be that impact, Be that person that says, hey, you can do whatever your heart desires. God has put an ability in you, and you ride with it. You go out there and you show the world what you can do.
Where did you develop that mindset? I know just in conversation with people around, it's either been a person or it's just how I was raised, or like sometimes we just look and it's just like, that's just how I always been.
Right. Right.
Where did your mindset come from?
To be honest, I've just always been, and being a product of a single mother. I had an older brother, Cedric McClure. You know, my brother and I, we sit and we watched our mother work 2 and 3 jobs, and I remember saying, I do not want to do what she's doing.
Yes.
I do not want to do that. There has to be another way, another option. And I said, once I grow up, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to finish college, and I'm going to be the president and CEO of somebody's company, have that one job, and be able to live, be able to travel. Didn't just want to get caught up in the rut of going to work, coming home every day, going to work, come home. No, there's a huge world out there. I want to explore it. I want to be a part of it. I want to help make an impact, especially with our kids. I mean, they are our future.
Yes.
So we have to give back what we already know. And sometimes, does that go against the grain a little bit? Yes, it does. Does it go against the environment or the community or the territory? Yes, it does. But you still have to go for it.
Go against the flow, create change.
Create change, exactly. And that's how you become an impact. You know, as I navigate around the community, I get people saying, hey, I'm proud of you, I hear about you. And I sit there and I think, none of that was never an intention.
Yes.
It was just the flow. It was just, once I graduated from Florida State, when I started coming back here and watching girls basketball, I said, man, these girls are doing the same thing I was doing, just playing. And going through the recruiting experience where I didn't know that you can get recruited to play basketball. Yes. I had no earthly idea. I shared a story with my kids as far as during my tenure, during my process at North Fort Myers High School. I remember Deion Sanders called the school because he wanted to know who the girl was that scored 51 points in the game. So as I'm talking to him, he's clowning me about breaking his record and so forth. Yeah. And he asked me 3 questions. What's your GPA? Who's recruiting you? And what's your ACT and SAT scores? I could only answer one. And my GPA at the time was a 3.8. Now, who's recruiting me and what's my ACT, SAT scores? I could not answer that question. I did not know. And that is when I started understanding that I needed to position myself. And as a student athlete, you're thinking that you have adults or someone there to help guide you. It wasn't there. And that was my mission when I came back to start coaching girls basketball, was to help these kids through that recruiting process, because I did not have that help.
You just said a whole lot. Just in conversation, not too long, been out of high school, looking at that process.
That's right.
That some kids are more proactive. They know I got to go to these camps and I got to talk to these and I got to do this. I got to get these numbers.
Right.
But and some coaches may take that for granted, that the kid already knows and that they're being active in the process.
Right.
Like you said, no idea. I was a little ignorant a lot of the process when I was in high school.
That's
so
right.
Sometimes you have part of it, you need to get your grades, or you need to perform a certain way.
Yes.
You said you had a 3.8 GPA.
Oh, yes.
So some stuff you just have to take care of. Generally.
Exactly.
You want to go to school or you want to be successful.
Exactly.
But as far as the process, there's a gap there, either between the coaches, between the individuals, helping them out with whatever area they may be in. If they want to be a chess champion and they want a chess scholarship.
Exactly.
And that led you to your foundation. Just to backtrack a little bit, in between North and creating the foundation, you were at Florida State.
Correct.
So what was the growth that happened at Florida State that allowed you to take out? You already had the mindset, but your time at Florida State, what did Florida State do for you?
Well, while at Florida State, it taught me a lot of independence, which is another thing that I share with my kids. And I tell them, I said, you know what? My mother took me to Tallahassee. She looked me dead in my face and she said, I'm going to pay your first month rent, phone, utilities, etc. After that, you're on your own. It's like, what? I said, okay. But me being the person that I was already programmed for it.
Yes.
I knew Mom couldn't fully help me all the way through college. So of course I took out loans, I got a grant, and me always having that economical or financial background, I budgeted from August to December and so forth. And I said, okay, well in December I get another Pell Grant, so I moved on from that. And and a lot of kids just don't have that type of thought process. So that is something that I share with my kids in my basketball foundation. So look, you guys got to know how to obtain a debit card or a credit card or a budget or some type of financial instrument, because once you get out in that world, you have to know how to utilize that stuff. But the growth I had at Florida State was I was on the same path as everybody else. Our society trains you and hones you to be working for somebody else. You know, you go to college to learn how to run somebody else's business. I wouldn't trade Florida State for nothing in the world. I loved it and I needed it.
Yes.
I needed that experience. And my mindset, once I graduate, I was gonna be the president of somebody's company. But what changed that mindset was back in 01, 02 when we had an MCI Enron situation. Basically, it was a situation where a lot of the top dogs, as they say, they stole a lot of people's pensions and so forth, and those people now are still working. Once I saw that, that changed my entire mindset about corporate industry and basically coming out on my own.
Yes.
In 02, I started my clothing line. That's Her, That's Him apparel. That's when the entrepreneurial spirit kicked in. I said, it doesn't make sense to work for somebody 30, 40 years and then all of a sudden you have something like that happen to you, or they just fire you.
Yes.
They just fire you. You're no more needed. You're no more useful, so you just have to move on. But my entrepreneurial spirit kicked in from then, and I was wide-eyed. I mean, I was men's, women's, kids, everywhere. And I learned a valuable lesson by doing that. Sometimes you have to stay and do one thing at a time and continue to grow from that. And actually in 2004, I had went to a conference called For Sisters Only in Atlanta.
Okay.
A lot of things happened from that conference. I'm at this conference telling everybody about the clothing line. You know, it's a Southern word that we say all day, every day, and I took it and I spelled it the way that we say it, and I made it out of an acronym. So while I was at my booth talking, showing off my clothes or what have you, there was a representative from the Bronner Brothers hair show at the time at that conference, and she comes to me and said, hey, I want you and your clothing line to be the grand finale of the Bronner Brothers show. What?
I'm gonna just stop you.
What?
If anybody doesn't understand hair, if you're not like in the business, that's international, that's huge.
Yes.
So anybody doesn't know anything about that, we're gonna let you continue.
Yes.
But that is huge.
The Bronner Brothers hair show is a show that happens twice a year.
Yes.
And when I got there, I was in awe. I could not believe, more so the kids who actually wore my clothing line, they were so proud. They wore it with such dignity and integrity, and the way they walked on that runway with my clothing on, it was just a great feeling. But from that show, I got a huge order. And a huge order for me was $8,000 at that time. Then it hit me. How am I going to produce this? I said, oh, that's the other side of this thing, right? So I produced it, but I ended up putting the clothing line on the back burner because at the time I was also building a house with my mom. We built the house from scratch. It took us 11 years to do it. And in August of 2013, we finally got our certificate of occupancy. And I always knew that once the house was done, I was going to go back to the clothing line full time.
All right.
And that's where I am. That's what I'm doing now. And in the meantime, when I started the basketball foundation, I said, you know what? I'm going to start and name this basketball foundation after my clothing line so that I can keep the name out there. So for all this time, you know, most everybody thought that the clothing line was the one out there, but it was more so the basketball name that was out there. But now the clothing line is back, and I'm attending a lot of trade shows. I'm getting the name out there. People are loving it. I have a jingle to the clothing line that actually I had some guys locally put that jingle together for me. I mean, and it's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
So you said That's Her is an acronym. What exactly?
Correct.
Means?
For the clothing line, That's Her is determined, ambitious, self-confident, humble, unique, and humorous. For the basketball, that's her is determined, athletic, self-confident, humble, unique, and hard to guard.
Okay, so the clothing line started first. You came
Correct.
out of Florida State.
Correct.
Iran is not happening to me. I'm not going to work 40 years, and y'all tell me there's no pension.
Right.
They're saying they're looking at me. They're taking it out of my check. There's no Social Security for you, buddy, but you
That's
keep
right.
paying.
That's
so
right.
you're saying I'm going to take the entrepreneur step. And,
That's right.
You know, that's a big shred in the community that's talked about that hasn't been pushed as far as the African American community.
That's right.
Generally in the lower income community general, that they talk about that being the next step as far as taking us to the next level. And that's her is not just the community, it's wide.
It's wide, exactly.
It's wide.
Exactly. And one of the main features of the clothing line is coming up, again, we're not taught about money or money management, investing, entrepreneurship. We're not taught that. So those are one of the lessons I learned from Florida State. And of course, just throughout life, a couple years ago, I said, man, these kids don't even know how to sign a check. They don't know anything about a credit card, debit card, anything like that. So I said, once the clothing line makes its market share, it would fund a percentage of the revenues would fund my basketball organization.
Okay.
Therefore, that's taking the kids on college tours on a regular basis, helping them with transportation expenses going from high school to college, because some kids and parents, I have a situation now where a parent is just not helping that kid. And then on top of that, once you get to college, a lot of kids don't understand, you just there on a basketball scholarship, you still have to eat, you still have to get money for this or that or what have you. So offering scholarships on that level to help these kids out, that is phenomenal. And then ultimately, I want to build what I call a sportational.
Okay.
It's a mixture of a sports complex with the educational component. And they want to help teach them about investing, money management, entrepreneurship, just showing them that there's many other options.
Definitely.
So many more options. So a lot of stuff in my pipeline.
You got a lot going on. The clothing, got a little bit more insight on the clothing line. It started before the foundation. I know when I started hearing about you, I started hearing about the basketball foundation.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, clothing line. I seen the Easter parade and then some stuff online.
Oh, yeah.
So it's definitely, we got more here with Shannon Graham. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and hear more about That's Her, That's Him Foundation and Clothing Line.
Hello everyone, my name is Victoria, your community tax lady from Tax Care. I'm here to tell you about a few of our services. Today I would like to tell you about our tax services. Many of you may have received letters from the IRS or even just need your taxes prepared. Well, in our office we are experts in federal tax law. Many of you do not like to deal with the IRS, but you know what? I love it. And we are very successful in dealing with the IRS. So if you have any tax questions concerning your individual taxes or business, please give us a call at 239-693-8428 because we can solve all of your tax problems. Thank you.
The City of Fort Myers has supported new and early-stage businesses by providing a location and technical assistance to new business owners. Tenants also have access to free business consulting, professional receptionist office, free Wi-Fi, 2 conference rooms, a large training room, copier and fax. Many new businesses now operating successfully have had their start at the Southwest Florida Enterprise Center. If you have a business idea, call 239-321-7085 and come join us.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service in association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
We are back. Pillar Success. I am your host, Shannon. I am your host, Martin Bird. Moved ahead of myself. Leave that alone. Anyways, I'm sitting here with Shannon Graham, the owner, the founder of That's Her, That's Him clothing line and basketball foundation. I know you heard about it. This is the face, the beautiful face behind this great creation. Entrepreneur, mass networker, 2014 News Press People of the Year nominee, News Press Citizen Editorial Board member.
Yes.
All right, so she got a whole lot going on. We're gonna stay on the basketball foundation for a little bit longer. So you started the basketball foundation. Each one teach one, going down and helping the young ladies.
Exactly.
Till the last couple years, girls basketball wasn't, big in Lee County,
That's
in
right.
the area. And
That's
now
right.
I'm just beginning to follow it since I've gotten involved volunteering.
Right.
Cape Coral, some good girls. Island Coast had a good team for a couple years. Fort Myers High School.
Yes.
Definitely.
I guess Fort Myers.
Dunbar High School.
Dunbar, yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Coach Donnell, looking forward to speak with him in the next coming weeks.
Right.
Championship, that state championship,
Correct.
runners up.
Correct.
Booming. Girls basketball is huge in Lee County at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So you're starting that's not only just to teach the basketball side, but all the finance side, the growing up as a adult side.
That's right. The life skills.
Yes.
I mean, and that's where the insertion of the empowerment really comes. Basketball is just that platform.
Yes.
When I started this basketball foundation, I just noticed that the boys were getting catered to. They had everything they needed, all the mentors, the coaches they needed. And I said, my goodness, we have so many girls out there who are very athletic, but they're not being taught how to play.
Yes.
When I went to college, I realized I did not know this game I say I loved. I tell my kids, the coach asked me, said, Graham, I need you to set a down screen. What? What is that? And I wasn't joking. And he ripped me apart. He said, you're Southwest Florida leading scorer, all-state player, blah, 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 and you don't know what a down screen is? I say, wow, no, I don't, but I can knock down a shot. He didn't like that comeback too much, so I ended up doing a lot of running after that one. But when I started the Basketball Foundation, I started it to develop. Most teams, most AAU teams that I have, most go out and get just the most dynamic players, the best players, and I don't knock that. I feel like I can create that best player. Yes. Some of those kids who can't get onto those teams, they can't dribble, or they're fundamentally challenged in shooting or defense or what have you. So I take those kids and now work with them. Now some say I'm tough, some say I'm hard. I'm like, it is what it is. This girl is telling me she wants a basketball scholarship. And being the person who played in Lee County, who left, and if I didn't get injured, I don't know if I would have been able to handle running the football field 5 or 10 times. We're not prepared for that. Yes. So when you come to my organization, I'm going to prepare you for that. I'm letting you know when a kid talks to me or their parents talks to me, I say, I am going to work you hard. I get a lot of kids now that says, Coach, I really want to come play for you, but you all work too hard. So I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the heck everybody else doing around here? Not only am I preparing you for today, preparing you for where you say you want to go. And I've been there. I'm not going to just get your glory today. I want today, yesterday, tomorrow. I want everything because I want you to have a nice, smooth transition into college. I want you to be able to stay there. So when that coach get nose to nose with you, because you've already gone through it with Coach Shannon, you'll be more likely to stay there. And what I found out is a lot of kids who return home after college scholarships or what have you, one of their biggest complaints is, well, I had to return home because me and the coach couldn't get along. No, you just couldn't handle what was going on. So I opened those doors up for my kids. I let them know 6 o'clock is when practice starts, not 6:01, not 6:02. If you get there at 6:01, you're out of there. I'm going to kick you out. That's just how it is. And to me, that's setting them up. That's preparing them for the next level. And I have my alumni. So far, I've had 19 girls go off to college on basketball scholarships. So I have my alumni. They talk to the current players like, hey, we didn't listen either. We didn't listen either. We thought she was just being tough or just being Coach Shannon, but she's been there. And she's telling you how it is before you even get there. So it's a great fun process, and to see them grow and mature on the basketball court, it's just amazing. Not only the mental part, the physical part of it, dribbling, shooting, that's the platform part. I like to see you thinking. I like to see you growing. I love that look when you give me, Coach, did you see that? Like, yeah, I saw it 4 years ago. I'll be waiting for you to catch up with me. So it's fun watching them grow on and off the court and see them maturing in life and so forth. And they love to call me and say, hey, I made a great decision today. Like, that's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear right there.
Still that standard of excellence. So like you brought up the point, we have a good number of kids, whether it's basketball, football, whatever sport, just college. Right. They go off and they don't come back with a degree.
Right.
They just come back and
they
fall into what is, some people may say, the hole that Fort Myers can be for certain people.
Yes.
And they don't. They're on a path, but they weren't built to go out and be successful. They didn't.
Exactly.
A Coach Shannon can say, hey, learn how to use a credit card. Learn how to budget. Learn how to deal with confrontation when you're faced with it.
Yes.
And those are the things that you're instilling in your girls that they never got.
Definitely.
Boys and girls.
Yeah.
A lot of it's a deficit in our community.
Yeah, it is.
And you're definitely filling that gap. So what's the next step for you're stepping back out? Your house is built, so you no longer have to deal with that. I'm sure that was a trying.
Yes, it was. It was a long 11 years, very, very long. A lot of sacrifice had to happen. And it took a while because now I'm finally getting out and doing things that Shannon was to do, because for so long it was either about the house or the basketball foundation. Now just stepping out and doing things that I knew I wanted to do but just couldn't because of the sacrifice, it's just amazing. It's a great feeling when you make a decision to be your own boss. It's a great feeling. Is it a lot of work? Yes. Don't misunderstand. I get people telling me all the time, you make this thing look like it's so easy. I said, but you don't understand. There were seeds planted for 10, 12 years already. Now the harvest is finally coming. Yes. You have to plant the seeds first in order for your harvest to grow. So that's what you're seeing now. You didn't see all the late nights, the frustration, the doubting, should I do this, should I do that, or what have you. How am I going to teach this kid this? Now, I had kids that had problems at home. They'll call Coach Shannon. Had kids that had fires. They call Coach Shannon. I'm like, dear, you need to call the fire department. Coach Shannon would be on her way, but call the fire department. So it's a lot to the basketball portion, and because it's tied in with the clothing line, it's definitely a lot of work. A lot of work and a lot of discipline.
So the clothing lines, you're back on that. The house is done. You're back pushing the clothing lines. You've been this marketer. You're marketing, aggressive communications. So,
definitely.
So we like that. So now you're out pushing that Sim Clothing Foundation, as well as doing your basketball foundation.
Yes.
You're doing clothing line.
Yeah.
What else is up the pipeline?
Oh dear. Well, the main thing is what I'm going to do now is attend the big trade shows like the Cobb Show that's in Atlanta. I've gone to the Magic Show, which is the biggest apparel show in the world. And my goodness, I mean, you meet so many designers and so forth. It was just amazing. But every few months, there's these big trade shows and even New York Fashion Week that you have to be a part of. So the idea is to attend these trade shows and to start getting into the smaller department stores. Once you start getting into the smaller department stores or even the boutiques, then we continue to grow from there. And of course, always seeking investors, always seeking to get the funding for the inventory. It is a challenge sometimes. Yes. It's definitely a challenge. And ultimately, like I said before, once it mixes market share, I mean, those seminars, those classes to try to help teach these kids about investing and entrepreneurship, I'm just excited about that. Yeah. So excited.
Great business model, great opportunity for anybody that got a couple $100,000 or something, $10,000 laying around you looking for something to invest in. Great cause. Once you're looking at building a business who's already shown promise with the earlier in its foundation, massive orders coming through. Name identity, brand identity is definitely there. So anybody in the community looking to invest, that's her, that's him, clothing line, eventually go into the foundation. So you're helping girls, helping empower an entrepreneur that's doing great things in the community.
Right.
What's the next step for the Basketball Foundation?
Basketball Foundation, I mean, because it's, again, affiliated with the clothing line, we're actually going to prepare for a big tournament that's in September.
Okay.
And, you know, my kids are kind of like, how's Coach Shannon feeling today? Because I get on them, I said, look, you guys come to me for the improvement.
Yes.
And when I don't see the improvement, I'm not going to be happy.
Yes.
I'm getting out there and working with you and trying to change and add to your game. But when you don't take what I'm giving you and you don't work it, then there's going to be a problem. Yeah. I can't say now I have a young, promising middle school team. They're still getting to know Coach Shannon. They're still getting to know that death look, as they say. You know, but great bunch of young girls. Got a tournament in September. The season doesn't officially start again until January. So right now, in between January, it's a lot of training going on. People walk by the morning time to see me out there on the basketball court at the Stars Complex. Hey, Coach Shannon. Hey, know how you doing? And there's a lot of kids that comes over from the Stars Complex in the morning, and I heard one kid say a few days ago, she has a different kid out here every morning. Is she a real coach? It's just funny because, you know, as I'm training that one particular player, I said, look, these kids are out here watching you. They're watching every move that you make, and on top of that, you are a girl. You are a girl on this basketball court knocking down shots, you know, making moves, making decisions, and you got those little girls sitting back saying, wow, I didn't know that we can do that. Yes. Like, yeah, you can do anything your heart desires when you put the work and effort towards it. But I think nowadays a lot of kids, they just think that things just happen. And as a kid, as you're growing up, you can't help but to think like that because mom and dad are doing everything for you. But once my kids get to high school, I said, look, mom and dad, we got to start releasing just a little bit, just a little bit. I need her to make independent decisions because that same thought process happens on the court. And one of the things that I actually teach my kids, I give them a book about mental toughness. We actually do homework assignments out of it. Now, do they look at me like I'm crazy? Yeah. Well, what does this have to do with basketball? I said, look, the way you think accounts for 90% of your game. 90. The 2 bad knees and 41 years old, I think I can beat you, therefore, that's how it is. It may not be the truth, but I think that. The other 10%, that's your fundamentals. So this right here caters to everything. So how you think is what's going to translate on that basketball court.
It's definitely goes back to when we were talking about kids leaving the school. Mental toughness, the ability to endure. You were talking about 10, 11, 12 years of sowing the seeds.
Yes.
Working it.
Yes.
Long nights.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Even doing stuff that's not as big as your foundation, there's going to take some sacrifice.
And you know, the funny thing about it, people are always asking me, well, how come you don't have a boys team? How come you don't have more teams? There's a reason why I cut my teams off at 3. Everybody else has 12, 15 teams, but I choose not to. I put a cap on it because I need to be able to train every kid in my organization if she wants it. Yes. Now, ideally, people figure, well, if they're playing for Coach Shannon, for that's her, she getting trained. Oh, the offer would be there, but a lot of these kids don't really want the training, especially when they see what it actually consists of. They say, well, I want to be like such and such, or I want to be like this person or that person. And I get them on that court, and they start running or we do some other stuff. well, that's not what I saw such and such do. I said, yes, you did. You just didn't know this is the process.
Behind it.
You didn't know what was behind it.
Yes.
So I showed them the process of basketball from beginning to end. I don't want it to be thrown at them when they get to college.
That is awesome. That is great to have a program like yours in this community helping all the girls of Lee County or from wherever they want to come and meet you at you do most of your training at the Stars.
And it's tough, yes. It's tough. It's tough getting those type of players who everybody's not saying they're all that great. It's tough. Because I have to get into their heads first, like, hey, you can be great. So that takes about a good year or two for me to incorporate that in them along with work ethic. And I just stated a few days ago, I said, you know, I get the phone calls from the Nikes or the Reeboks or the emails or what have you saying, hey, come up under our umbrella, we'll do this, we'll do that. Like, no, because I understand the business aspect of it. And I actually share that with my kids. I said, you'll be amazed at how people make things look good. So when they get that comment from me, sounds good, they know what I'm talking about. It sounds good. But I said, no, but I'll just continue to do what I do. It's tough. Sometimes you have great years, other times you have those dismal years because you're still trying to get these kids to understand how great they can be.
And that's definitely a lot of confidence in, I know just by working with some of the 9th, 10th graders, a lot of their confidence needs to be built up.
Yes.
A lot of what they're doing
Yes.
because they have a lack of confidence.
Yes.
And you were talking about the focus. I read a book a year or so ago, real estate. He's over, like sales estate, I believe. He's over that company. He wrote a book, One Thing at a Time.
Yep.
Talking about focusing.
Yep.
Talking about they have 15 teams.
Yes.
They get the best players, but he decided to focus on the women of young ladies of the area and begin to build them up.
That's right. And I love getting them great, or more so in middle school.
Yes.
Because in middle school, you know, not to go against it, but it'd be so funny. You know, these kids talk about how, oh, I was the 5th grade MVP or the 6th grade. I'm like, sweet, these recruiters are not going to care about that at all. I'm telling you. That's why I no longer take stats.
Yes.
I don't even take stats from organization because that's not what they're recruiting. They're recruiting your ability to play. They're recruiting your work ethic. They're recruiting how you run the basketball court, whether it's offensively, defensively, depending on what position you're playing. And I love getting them in middle school because I have to correct all that. One of the examples that I use on my kids, I say, you know, when I ask you, how did you play? What is the normal response? They usually respond and say, well, I scored 20 points. Yeah. That's not what I asked you. I could care less whether you scored 20 points or not. I asked you, how did you play? How was your shot? How did you attack the basket? How was your defense? I don't want to hear anything about you scoring 20 points because me knowing how these AAU leagues are and travel leagues, high school, middle school leagues are, you could have scored 20 points against an elementary school team. But you're not going to tell anybody that. You're just going to say you scored 20 points. So my eyes are a little bit different. I've had a lot of kids that got patted on the back since middle school, and they're running to me, and I'm like, no, we still have a lot of work to do, chick. And I'm not trying to knock you. I'm trying to help you. When you do something great, I'm going to let you know you did it great. You do something not so great, I'm going to let you know that you did not do this greatly, but let's fix it. So I'm not just getting on you about it without trying to help you to fix it. You got to fix it.
Last question, actually last comment. We spend a lot of time speaking to the young women. All the college-age women, older women, whatever age, that are looking to take their next step forward. They may be working a job, they may be just getting out of college, and they just want to make an impact, or they don't want to get caught in the clog that we call a job, the 9 to 5, the 8 to 5, really. What's your advice to them?
To be honest with you, Martin, I sat for years in positions that I was not happy in.
Yes.
But I had to do that because of the house that my mom and I were building. When the opportunity came, the very last position that I had with a corporation, I said, you know what? I'm going to start saving. I'm going to save to that day till I can resign And I said, I'm going to resign and I'm going to do what it is that I want to do. My risk was very calculated. I didn't just jump out there, and you shouldn't. My risk was very calculated, and that day came. I said, you know what? I'm tired. I see what's happening in the corporate industry. I see what's happening with these jobs and so forth. I'm going to do this. And there's a spirit, there's a churning in you that keeps coming out, and it says, just do it, just do it, just do it. And that day came. I said, you know what? It's risky, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to jump out there. I'm going to let people know who I am, what I am, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and continue to move forward. I'm not going to listen to, you can't do this, you can't do that, look at where you come from, look at this, look at that. I went off to college. I get, oh, she thinks she's all that, she's bougie, she's this. Why do I have to think that I'm all that? Because I went off to college. I wanted not to be a part of the environment here. I wanted to show people that, yeah, you can come around the same alcoholics, the same drug dealers, the same this, the same that, but life is about choices. And if you're still in that predicament, you're choosing to be there. Make a decision. You have to make a decision. There's nothing more. Make a decision. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be great at. And one of my favorite quotes is, the decisions you make today determines the options you have tomorrow. So every decision I've made for the past 10, 12 years, look at the options that I have now. And there's much more that's out there. It's coming. I'm getting contacted about this and that, public speaking, coaching over here. I'm like, what? That wasn't in the plan.
No.
But when God said go, you just got to go.
And you've heard it here from Shannon Graham of That's Him, Clothing Line and Apparel, Basketball Foundation. You got to go. You got to go. The decisions that you make today create your options for later. I want to thank you again for being on the show today. It's a great interview with Ms. Graham. Stay tuned. Pillars of Success. I want to thank you for joining us today. This is Pillars of Success, Community TV 1. You have a great day.
The City of Fort Myers has supported new and early-stage businesses by providing a location and technical assistance to new business owners. Tenants also have access to free business consulting, professional receptionist office, free Wi-Fi, 2 conference rooms, a large training room, copier and fax. Many new businesses now operating successfully have had their start at the Southwest Florida Enterprise Center. If you have a business idea, call 239-321-7085 and come join us.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Wow.